Welcome, everyone, to Tempus University. My name is Zac Jones. I am an implementation consultant here at Prosymmetry. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to set up and configure role management and access, which really are part of Tempus Resource's security model to really, at the end of the day, provide user-specific rights. So our security model gives the admin the ability and really the flexibility to give the proper permissions so end users can focus on their tasks while also maintaining good security practices. So wrapped up within role management is really a collection of permissions in three different areas, or roles, as we like to call them. Number one, global roles, two, project roles, and three, resource roles. And so really these allow you to define user-specific rights. And then access is also what we'll be covering today, which really defines the association between them. So really, we're just going to tie them together in access by creating rules or policies within Tempus. So let's go ahead and dive in. So going over to Tempus and going to the admin settings tile on the home page, on your home page. And then today I'm going to be talking about specifically these three tiles over here. And so role management is what we were talking about, where you're going to have those global, project, and resource roles. And then project access and resource access is really where we're going to tie them together. These other tiles here under access management, we won't cover in this video just because due to timing, but please check our Help Center and Tempus University for more information on those. So in role management, as you come in here, you'll actually see the various permissions that you can grant. And so you can see here, there's a lot of flexibility in what access you give or don't give to your specific end users. So what we're going to be doing, and you'll see here that up at the top, we're basically on global roles. And global roles is really the structure and foundation of role management. And users can only belong to actually one global role at any point in time. So global roles defined generally an end user's application rights. So once a user is created, they can immediately be added to an existing global role, and membership to a global role can really change at any time. So one helpful tip that I usually like to do with my clients is, let's go ahead and create a new one here. So let's call this one Resource Manager. And I like to throw out this G at the end. And what this does is it just helps as this comes up in other areas in Tempus, I know that this is really tying back to the global role. And throughout this, basically, now here I can actually go across these permissions and grant access to various things. So I could say, hey, I want them to have access to Scribe. I want them to be able to create a workflow project. I definitely want them to be able to, use Tempus What If, global analysis tool and to see net availability. And it's very common to see to use the BPA. And, obviously, and probably the other big one is Insight, utilizing advanced reporting in Insight Plus. And so you could actually go through, and all of these permissions are actually documented exactly what they do in our Tempus Help Center. So I would definitely encourage you to go there. And if you need that link, you can just to remember, there's always that question mark up at the top right of any Tempus screen, so you can navigate there. So once we've set up global roles and you've kind of gone through each of these to see what you want to give them access to, you're going to want to go over to project roles and create it there as well. So I'll go ahead and do this quickly and say, okay, project or resource manager, and I'm going to say P here. And then this is where I would say, hey, I'm going to go grab, I'm going to let them, maybe edit. Well, usually resource managers can't edit project names, but they can usually see attribute values, project attribute values and assignment values, and they can usually see, the planned allocations, and they can see dates and so forth. And so you kind of go through and say, okay, what do you want them to have access to? Okay, and the same thing here. So I'm going to say resource manager R, and I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, we want view and list, which is really just the resource management tile itself. You'll say, yeah, they can edit allocations, and usually they can view capacity and so forth. And let me show you kind of how this all ties out. So we went and created a global role, a project role, and a resource role. And if I kind of zoom out here for a second, when you come into the resource management tile, you'll see all of your resources. And I'm just going to pick on Chuck here, and I'm actually going to assign him the global role of that resource manager that we just created. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then if I log in as Chuck, which I've actually already done on the side here, and without anything, without actually refreshing this screen, this is Chuck without a global role. And so you'll see here he is actually a timesheet user, and then you can see that there's some other customizable tiles that you can create. But if I go ahead and refresh the screen saying, hey, he has a global role, and you can see here, oh, perfect. He's got Insight Plus and Scribe and What If, but he's still missing a lot of other tiles that we gave that resource manager global role. And so it's because we're not done yet. And so let me come back here for a moment. And if I go back into admin settings and I go to project access, we actually need to create a rule or a policy. And in this, what you're going to do is just click on add new rule. And you're going to go ahead and select that resource manager. And you'll note it by the icon here on the left of this person. And you'll notice that G there. And this is really where it connects, and it's helpful to know. And then I can say, hey, yeah, we just want to give them access to all projects. And then here's that P that we kind of put on that resource manager P. So now we're connecting that global role to that project role. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then let's go see what that did to Chuck's area. And so, if I refresh, you'll automatically see projects, and then that BPA flat grid as well came up here. So, but if you notice here, if I come into like the flat grid here, I actually still don't see, projects or resources. And it's partly because this will show you current allocations. Well, if I don't have resources, I can't really do that. And you'll notice here, I don't have like the resource management tile here. So let's go ahead and create one more rule under the resource access. If I come here and add new rule, and I go to resource manager G, there's that global role again. Select, say, hey, yeah, I want access to all resources. And then there's that R again. So resource manager R. So what we're doing is connecting and tying together that global role and that resource role. Go ahead and save that. And then let's look at Chuck really one more time. And you'll see here, that's really, and you'll see now I can see those resources and I can see those allocations kind of pop up as I click on these resources and see the allocations across the system. So one helpful tip just to remember is that it's always helpful if you notice as I was using Chuck to just set up another test user where you can actually see what the end user sees is always a common best practice. So if you need any more in-depth information on role and access management, there is additional videos in the Tempus University, and also you can always check out the Tempus Help Center. So please feel free to reach out with any questions, and thank you for watching.